Imagine a quiet English estate, the kind of place where the rhythm of life is usually dictated by the seasons and the slow movement of the sun across the gardens. But it's the Great War, and the peace of this home is an illusion. The war isn't just happening on distant battlefields, it's pressing against the windows, waiting to break in. This is the world of Phillips Oppenheim's The Zeppelin's Passenger, a story that uses the tension of wartime espionage to peel back the layers of a marriage and the very idea of what it means to be a patriot. We meet Lady Philippa Cranston in a state of constant, quiet anxiety. Her brother, Major Felsted, has been missing in Germany for 2 months. In the early years of the war, that kind of silence is terrifying. It's a void that fills the house with a heavy, unspoken dread. Philippa is trying to maintain the dignity of her position, but she's struggling. And adding to her isolation is her husband, Sir Henry Cranston. To the outside world, and certainly to Philippa, Henry seems like a man who has checked out of the war entirely. He spends his time on leisurely fishing trips and avoiding any real sense of duty. Philippa sees him as a skulker, a man who is content to live a life of quiet comfort while others are dying in the mud. This resentment creates a coldness between them, a sense that they are living in 2 different realities. That reality is shattered one night when a man literally enters their lives through a window. He's a stranger, appearing to be a Swedish national named Hamar Lessingham, but he carries an air of someone who doesn't quite belong to the peace he claims to represent. He presents Philippa with a staggering, impossible choice. He's actually Baron Bertram Maderstrom, a German officer, and he has secured the release of her brother, Major Felsted. In exchange, he asks for something that feels like a betrayal to any Englishwoman, a month of sanctuary in England. Suddenly, the war is no longer an abstract concept of maps and headlines. It is a man sitting in her drawing room, a man who holds her brother's life in his hands. Philippa and her friend Helen Fairclough are thrust into a moral crucible. If they report him, they are doing their duty to the crown, but they might lose Felsted forever. If they protect him, they are harbouring a spy. As Lessingham integrates himself into their social circle, the lines between friend and enemy begin to blur. He is charismatic and, perhaps most dangerously, he is disillusioned. He doesn't speak like the propaganda-driven villains of the era. Instead, he speaks of the brutishness of the war, a man tired of the slaughter and looking for a way to escape to America. This shared weariness creates a bridge between him and Philippa. In the shadow of her husband's perceived indifference, she finds herself drawn to this man who, despite his true identity, seems to possess a certain tragic nobility. But while the romance between Philippa and the Swede develops, a much larger game is being played in the background, one that neither Philippa nor Lessingham fully understands. The tension of the book isn't just about whether Philippa will betray her country, but about the masks everyone is wearing. The central irony of the novel lies in the character of Sir Henry. Throughout the first half of the story, we see him through Philippa's eyes, a man of leisure, a man avoiding the struggle. But the truth is far more complex. Sir Henry isn't a skulker. He is a high-ranking rear admiral operating under deep cover. His fishing trips aren't escapes from duty, but clandestine operations. He is using the cover of a quiet, unremarkable life to manage coastal minefields and protect the English coast from German incursions. His idleness is actually a highly disciplined form of service. He is fighting the war by pretending he isn't fighting the war at all. This theme of hidden identity becomes the engine of the plot. As the story moves toward its climax, the stakes shift from personal morality to high-stakes military intelligence. During a chaotic shipwreck, a moment of genuine physical danger that strips away the polite veneers of social standing, Lessingham finds an opportunity. He manages to steal what he believes is a vital maritime chart from Sir Henry. To Lessingham, this is his ticket to a new life, a piece of intelligence he can use to secure his freedom. He thinks he has outmaneuvered the British, but he has actually walked straight into a trap. The climax arrives with a sudden, sharp intensity. Captain Griffiths, a local commandant who has been watching the situation with a mix of rigid military suspicion and personal jealousy of Lessingham, arrives with an armed escort. He is there to arrest Lessingham for espionage and for his perceived attempt to abduct Lady Cranston. The tension is at a breaking point, the spy is caught, the lady is scandalized, and the husband's true nature is about to be laid bare. But the final revelation is a masterstroke of counter-espionage. As the authorities move in, Sir Henry asserts his superior military authority. It is revealed that the chart Lessingham stole was a fake. It was a trap map, carefully designed by Sir Henry to lure a German naval squadron into a lethal minefield. The entire espionage plot, the tension, the theft, and even the presence of the spy in their midst had been part of a controlled operation designed to cripple the German navy. The man Philippa thought was a traitor was a tool for the British, and the man she thought was a coward was actually her most vital defender. In the aftermath, the resolution is surprisingly graceful. Lessingham, despite being a spy, has acted with a sense of gentlemanly honour. He isn't a monster, he's a man caught between his professional mission and his human impulses. Because of the strategic value of the deception he helped facilitate, he is granted safe passage to escape via a Dutch trawler. He is allowed to leave, provided he stays out of the way. The story ends with the reconciliation of Philippa and Henry. The wedge that had been driven into their marriage, the resentment over his lack of patriotism, is healed by the realization of the heavy, secret burdens they both carried. They realize that in wartime, the most important work is often done in silence and shadows, and that sometimes the greatest service to one's country is to appear as though you are doing nothing at all. When we look back at the Zeppelin's passenger, it's interesting to see how Oppenheim uses the era's technological anxieties to mirror his character's internal struggles. The Zeppelin itself, a massive looming presence in the sky during the war, was a symbol of a new kind of warfare, one that was invisible until it was too late, one that could reach into the most private spaces. This mirrors the way the characters' secrets infiltrate their lives. The war isn't just something happening out there, it is something that deconstructs the most intimate human bonds. The book plays heavily with the gentleman spy archetype. Lessingham is a romanticized version of espionage. He's a man of honor, even when he's breaking the law. This creates a fascinating ethical grey area. The novel asks us to consider the morality of noble lies. Is it justifiable to lie to your spouse, to lie to your neighbours, or to manufacture fake intelligence if it leads to a greater victory? Through Henry and Lessingham, Oppenheim suggests that in a world of total war, the truth becomes a luxury that very few can afford to tell. There is also a profound commentary on the duality of identity. We see how wartime necessity forces people to wear masks. Henry's mask is one of lethargy and lack of purpose, while Lessingham's mask is one of nationality. The tragedy of the story is that these masks are necessary for survival, but they also create a profound sense of isolation. Even when the truth is finally revealed, the characters have been changed by the time they can finally be honest with one another. Ultimately, the story is about the cost of deception. It suggests that while the greatest deceptions might win battles and save fleets, they also leave a residue on the soul. As Philippa and Henry find their way back to each other, they have to reconcile the people they were before the war with the people they had to become to survive it. It's a story that moves from the domestic to the global, showing how the massive, sweeping movements of history eventually settle in the quietest, most private corners of the human heart.